In the original games, Arcanine was meant to be a legendary Pokemon, along with Zapdos and Articuno, but the game designers thought it might be confusing to have two birds and a dog as a legendary trio. They ended up adding Moltres to the game and making Arcanine a regular mon. Welcome to Professionally Casual Gamers, the podcast where two friends kick back after a long work week and casually talk about everything gaming. I'm your host, Ralph, joined by my co-host and Last of Us late bloomer, Alex.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. How are you doing, Alex?
Doing pretty great. I know we always throw that part in there about the long work week, but I feel like this time especially, it was a pretty long work week for me. I don't know about you.
No, same here. Oh, we were supposed to do snacks today, but it's fine. We had such a long work week that Alex and I talked about having snacks and maybe some wine during this podcast.
Yeah, so Buzzsprout, shout out to Buzzsprout. They help us out with the podcasting platform. They threw us a $20 Amazon gift card, woot woot, so we were going to get some snacks. They weren't going to deliver in time, so next time we'll get some Oreos. That's my snack of preference. Oreos? What's yours?
I don't know. Probably nothing because I'm going to try and eat healthier.
Oh, that's right. Next week. Dude, just push it back a week. It's
no,
fine.
Dude, that's not how it works. I've already calculated the amount of times I have until the wedding. So
okay. Oh, January. Yeah, that's coming up quick.
Yeah,
Jeez, that is coming up quick.
Nah, you need to fucking buff up too. So
true. Also, ouch, but yeah.
No, everyone needs to look good.
Yeah,
we want everyone to look good. So
especially after watching Cobra Kai, we'll take up some karate.
We're gonna talk about that later. That's actually funny. We'll have a little callback to that
for sure.
The deals of the week.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be kicking back, talking about video games with you after a long week.
Yeah, it was very long this week for
sure.
me as well. So I'm actually gonna work some more after the podcast. So.
Yikes!
Yeah,
beginning of Q4.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Well, today we're kicking off episode 6. As always, thank you to everyone who has tuned in for the past couple of episodes. We're really excited that we're hitting month 2 of Professionally Casual Gamers. So I'm going to shill for the very first time.
Shill.
Yeah. For our listeners, if you can tell one person to check out our podcast, we would really appreciate it. It would help us out a lot. If you have a chance to maybe review us on Apple Podcasts or any of our review platforms, that would help us out a lot. We want more people to listen to the podcast. Obviously, Alex and I are just having fun with this, but if we can get more people to listen to it, that'd be so great. And at the end of this episode, we're going to talk about something special that you can get involved with us, because I want to make sure that, for the people that are our OGs, the people that listen to us, we want to make sure to engage with you. And so we have something special. Me and Alex have something planned for you. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Alex, let's talk video games. What have you been playing?
Okay, so as you prefaced in the intro, I am a Last of Us late bloomer. I finally decided to pick up again Last of Us Part 1.
How many times have you tried to play Last of Us?
Just one. So it literally was the first game I got on the PS4. Okay. Because I got the PS4 maybe 2 years after launch.
Well, it was the game that everyone was like, yo, you need to play this game.
Right. And it was actually, Last of Us was actually on the PS3. So this is Last of Us.
It didn't run well. Is that my understanding?
I don't know. I've never played on the PS3, so I actually am not sure. It was an end of life cycle title of the PS3. So when I got the PS4, it actually was a bundle for The Last of Us. But the issue was I also bought Witcher 3. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just play through The Last of Us and then I'll dive into Witcher 3. But I got through maybe halfway. I'm not really too sure how far I got. And I'm like, okay, I'll just try The Witcher 3, right? Just sitting there. And then I started, I'm like, wait, I can't stop playing. So it's not that The Last of Us was bad. It's just Witcher 3 had my number, man. I had to pick up the phone, talk to it.
Yeah, that's so funny because I had the opposite reaction with Witcher 3.
Oh, that's right.
I had Witcher 3 and The Last of Us. I think we played that at the same time. And I think I played The Witcher 3 first. And I liked it a lot. Right. I just stopped.
Yeah. I remember when you told me that, after the Bloody Baron, you stopped.
Right, yeah.
And I got really annoyed at you. I'm like, Ralph, are you kidding me? It gets so good.
And I totally get that. And I believe I finished maybe 2 or 3 third step of Bloody Baron for Witcher 3. But the thing with Witcher 3 is you need to understand that is a game that you're going to play for a while. And with Witcher 3, it was, for me, and it was in college. It's not like I wasn't doing anything too crazy, but for me, it was so overwhelming Because when you start out Witcher for 3, you think, oh, White Vale or like White Orchard is like all of it. You know, that's the main map.
That's a starting point.
And then once I got to the second half of, not even the second half, like I want to say like a third hour of Witcher, and then you go to the other map and you see how big the map is, and I was just like, I can't do this right now. I don't want to play this right now. There's too much to do.
I think the map size actually isn't terrible. It's just the amount of stuff, the side quests.
There's so many icons on the screen. I'm like, I can't do this because the way I played White Orchard, I think it's called.
I think
White
in
Orchard,
Velen.
Right? Yeah,
Velen is like the main continent.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, because I like my open world games, I'm the type of person that will go icon by icon.
Yeah, the optimized system.
Right. So when I went and when the map opened up, I thought to myself, I can't do this. There's too much. I just can't. I can't.
I think like that was the issue with Ghost of Tsushima that we talked about in episode 1, is that there's a lot of map, there's a lot of geography, but not a lot of icons per like square foot.
Which I technically liked because it didn't like freak me out. And then I picked up Last of Us, and it was one of those things where it's such a nice streamlined experience.
Yeah.
That it was so good for me. So it's interesting that you had the opposite experience. I want to touch everything on this map.
Yeah, I just really want to play Witcher 3. And I was on like summer vacation at the time, so I had all the time in the world, opposed to now.
Yeah, so you tried Last of Us, you tried picking up Last of Us again, right? What made you stop the second time?
No, so this is the second time.
Oh, this is just the second time.
Yeah, this is the second time. So mostly why I'm picking it up again is just because Game of the Year talk. Like, I know Last of Us Part 2 is going to be on there. I mean, I know it's going to be a good experience anyway, so now is a good time before, like, next gen comes out, when, you know, these big hit games launch. So, yeah, I'm in kind of in a lull period where I can actually hit my backlog.
Yeah.
So, like, this has literally been on the backlog since day one.
Yeah.
So, it's good to dive into it. I just got the shotgun. I think I've been playing for, like, 4 or 5 hours. I just started it yesterday, actually. I was going to play Friday, but we ended up playing some more Among Us, and I, like, was watching Cobra Kai. So, playing Last of Us, it's great. The first 10 minutes again.
Yeah.
This is, like, the third time I've seen it, and it still hits you hard. I didn't cry. No.
Cry Club.
Did you cry the first time?
Yeah, dude. So many people cried. So many people cried during that session. You don't have a heart, Alex.
Yeah, I'm a psychopath. So it is emotional. It's good. Like the storytelling, it's obviously it's like a pretty linear game, but it's fine. Like you're there for the story. The gameplay is good enough. I don't think that's like their main focus. Maybe they touch up on it in the next one. I'll find out. No, it's okay. I'll find out.
No, they do touch it up. Sorry, I tilted my head to the side, and I was like, I guess not. No, we'll talk about it more when we talk about Game of the Year. I hope you get to play Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I definitely will, because this one you've told me is not that long, so I might be like a third of the way through.
Right.
So I totally anticipate to have Last of Us Part 1 done for the next episode.
So you didn't stop playing Last of Us, the original, because of a specific reason, right? It's just more along the lines you wanted to play Witcher instead.
Something else caught my eye. So, you know, like the meme where the guy's holding his girlfriend's hand, he turns around to check out. Yeah, that's literally that meme.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that I know that Last of Us is loved by a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that also don't like to play Last of Us. Right?
Really?
There's people
the first one?
There's multiple people that have tried and put it down, just on the basis that I think The Last of Us is just such a negative ride. You know what I mean? It's so like dreary and so dark.
Right.
Also, like when I played The Last of Us, I put it down for a little bit because I want to say like I played it for a week and then I like stopped playing it for maybe 2 weeks after that. And then it really caught my attention. So I don't like scary games.
Oh, and I didn't
think so. No one told, like, I knew that it was post-apocalyptic and I'm totally fine with that, but Last of Us is kind of secretly like a horror game.
There are suspenseful moments.
Yeah. So like, especially with the clickers and stuff like that, like the zombie type enemies, and I just didn't like it, and it always like made me like on edge. I just don't like scary games, so I needed some time to actually want to play it. But once the story gets going, it's something that it's like a good book where like I need to know what happens next.
Totally.
And like
very narrative focused, which is totally fine. I'm down for that.
It kind of reminds me of like a bingeable TV show. So I'm excited for you to experience it. I'm curious to see if The Last of Us ends up on your top 10.
Okay.
Like your overall top 10 best video games of all time. It's somewhere on mine. I don't know where it is right now, but yeah, I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and especially excited to dive into part 2. Since this is it's the remastered version of the PS3 game, the graphics hold up. Obviously, I'm like, okay, like this could be better, but it's not anything where I'm like wincing. Like it's not like that much of a negative reaction.
Yeah, it's not like Prince of Persia remastered.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
My God, I like repressed that from my memory, and now you just brought it back. So yeah, that's great. Okay, I mean, as far as video games on my end,
aren't you playing Among Us? How was Among Us?
Yeah, that's right. We played a lot yesterday. Yeah. We had a like perfect scenario where 10 of us, full lobby, all just friends who know each other, and most of us were in the same room.
Oh, that's cool. That's such a nice thing.
It's nice. 3 of us were in California, actually, so we just Zoom called.
Yeah. I think that game really shines if you're playing with people like within the same room. I know with COVID and stuff, that makes it a little bit difficult. Yeah. And a lot of people are playing it online, and that's just as good. But the thing with playing it online is it's hard to gauge who's going to talk. Right, on a Skype call or on a Zoom call. So a lot of the time, the first 5 seconds is people talking above each other.
Oh, right.
So like people are just screaming. But if you're in the same room, it's much easier to have eye contact with them. Like, hey, like, are you going to talk right now, or am I going to talk? Because I want to make my peace.
And that's how original like Mafia and Werewolf, those are meant to be played
in person,
in real life. So it definitely lends itself a better experience that way. Yeah, it's great. It's super fun. If we did a couple rounds, my roommates and I, so it was 3 of us, and then we'd play with like 5 other randos, and it was just not fun.
Yeah.
At all, because you can only communicate through text, and
you typically gang up on the people that are not in your group, which is like an unconscious bias, right? So like if your friend says, "Oh, I think it's this random person," you're gonna believe your friend over.
Because a lot of it is just like table talk. It's communicating like, okay, where were you? Why do you think it's this person? Like, there's a lot of communication that goes through this process.
That game is secretly complex because
and doing all that through text is just not ideal at all.
Yeah, what's annoying about Among Us as a new player, especially when you play with new players, because we played with a bunch of people like that are random that were obviously like veterans of the game, and they like knew where like laundry chute or like where navigation was and things like that. So then when they asked you where you were, I'm like, I was on the lower left.
Yeah, so I was like west, southwest, whatever. I don't remember the names.
Like, what were you doing? I was like, I was inputting numbers somewhere.
Oh, I hate that one so much.
Like, it's like Simon Says numbers. So it gets super complicated, and then there's like some secret, like not secret, but like hidden mechanics that the game doesn't tell you because there's not really a tutorial, right? Like where there's like certain tasks that have visual cues. So like, because an imposter could do like, you have,
I don't know, yeah.
So like there's this like task where like it's like a visual cue, like I think like the trash, like when you throw out the trash, if an imposter is faking a task and they're faking like the trash chute and they do the task, it's not actually going to throw out trash.
Right.
So like, if you're savvy
sense
enough and you see someone do the trash chute and then no trash comes out,
they know they're
imposter. So like newbies are they're in a pretty big disadvantage if they don't know any of those hidden mechanics.
Yeah. That's cool though, that there's layers like in the communication end of it, and then also just while you're playing it when everyone's silent. So that's amazing. Really fun game.
Yeah, were you playing with a bunch of like people that are typically gamers, or were you playing with a bunch of
it was a mix of both, but the 3 people that we were on the call with, that was our first time playing. Yesterday we were playing, so there were a couple rounds like, okay, what am I doing? Okay, this is kind of where we're going with it, and like these are some of the metas. The other 7 people we had like played before, so it was fine.
Was it like a good game to like play with a bunch of people that have different levels?
We played for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah,
like it was the quickest 3 hours of my life. It was super fun.
It's one of those Smash Bros games, you know.
Yeah, it's like okay, just one more.
It's 3 hours later.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you're having fun, right?
Well, the cool thing about that game is that, yes, it's like one of those things where you want to play one more, but secretly, I think it's really well designed where the reason people want to do, let's do one more, is they're hoping to do the slot machine of like, am I getting imposter? You know what I mean? Because everyone wants to be imposter. So they say one more to see maybe I'll be imposter next time.
I got the imposter a fair amount of times. Yeah. It's so much fun.
Imposter's like the best thing. Like, I get the crewmate thing, and it's cool to play that.
I'm not like upset when I'm crewmate though. It's still fun.
When you're crewmate, in my head, I'm like, you're eating your vegetables so that you can be imposter.
Imposter's the stake.
Yeah. My favorite thing is I do like crewmate from time to time. My favorite thing is when you're doing a task and you're about to start a task, but someone just walks into the room and you're like, oh no.
Am I dead?
Right. So it's one of those things where I'm like, oh no.
Your heart skips a beat,
Like, do you have a task in this room or am I about to die? Like,
But yeah, that's Among Us and Last of Us. That about covers what I was up to this weekend. How about you?
Yeah, so we're going to touch base on this later, but Alex and I did end up playing Fall Guys together. Yep. Season 2 just came out. So we'll touch base on that once I talk about my games. In general, I've been playing Genshin Impact again. I need to stop playing that game because it's a little bit dangerous because it's one of those games that if you get hooked into it, I feel like that's the type of game that would make you play it over and over again until you're kind of done with it. I think it's personally a very good game, especially since it's free to play. Yeah. I like the combat. The combat is interesting. I think that the story is interesting too. And like the characters in the game are very enticing. I think they have their own motivations and they're kind of cool. They have the really, anime trope personalities. Which really resonates with me.
So let me ask you this. Did you get to like adventure rank 20?
Yeah.
So you have continued the story.
I'm on AR rank 20. And so Alex and I spoke about this offline where he did play Genshin Impact last week. And one of his big gripes is he just wants to play the story. Right. And so one thing with the game is that you need to rank up this adventure rank. And essentially the way you rank that up is not necessarily by like killing monsters or like grinding per se. It's more along the lines of exploring the world, opening chests, finding like these Assassin's Creed teleportation places, doing missions, right? Doing missions in your dailies. So, Alex could not be bothered. He like didn't want to do that.
The thing is, I didn't want to do any of the grind stuff. I just wanted to play the narrative. And so after like a couple hours, you're just like blocked off from continuing the story. You need to hit adventure rank 20. And so that was a huge turnoff for me because I just wanted to play through the narrative. In that aspect of like, okay, get your adventure rank up, that's very much like Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Where it's just like, explore the world. We're not really giving you any sort of direction. Just do that and interact with the environment, and then you'll eventually get there.
Right. It's like, it's the idea of that you can't really mainline the game. You can't mainline the game because they want you to experience the world, right? They want you to find that weird chest over there or to find the teleportation thing or like to explore a secret quest. There's some really interesting things in that game. One thing that was cool for me is that there's just some world puzzles that you just do.
You just stumble upon them.
Yeah, you stumble upon them. You'll see like a pillar that clearly you need to light it on fire, and then it lights on fire, and then it has some like visual cue that something else needs to be done. And then you find another pillar that has something that you need to do, like an electric move, and then you find something that uses an air move. And then there, like it'll unlock a chest or something. Yeah. But there was this cool secret quest that I found. I ended up stumbling into a camp. And there was this, like, I want to say field of swords.
Oh, okay.
And then there was like a chest inside, but you couldn't go into it because there was like a weird air force field. And so I was like, I know
what you're talking about.
Yeah. So like in my head, I was like, I guess I can't go in here because I can't touch it. But I randomly found like maybe 30 meters away a pillar that I could hit with fire. And then it had a visual cue that it did something to that field of swords. Right. So in my head, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's so exciting. That's so interesting. Because now I need to go find whatever other things I need to do in the world to unlock that secret quest. Mm-hmm. Beyond that point, I think the game is really good. It's really fun. The story is interesting. The reason I think I need to stop playing the game is because I like it a lot. And it's one of those things where I don't want to dive into another service game up to this degree. I know we played Avengers a while back, but when I was playing Avengers, it was one of those things where I knew that if I played Avengers, I would just need to jump in for my dailies, do those missions, and maybe raid on a weekend. With this, because there's just so much interesting stuff to do in the map, as if you're really into open world games and things like that and exploring, you're going to end up not just doing your dailies. There's just no way. Like
you're going to really immerse yourself in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that I particularly, the one thing that clicked with me, because eventually at one point I was thinking the same thing as Alex. I'm like, oh, like adventure rank's a little bit grindy and it's cool, and I do like exploring, and it's like a nice little checkbox for me. But I don't know if this combat system is deep enough. It's an interesting combat system, but then I ended up being able to fight world bosses eventually, and they were interesting fights, to say the least. They had multiple moves, so when you open up your adventure book, you're able to check out a world boss, and then you could go to their location, and it was this box, like it was an elemental box, and they had multiple moves, and it was like complicated. It was interesting. They were able to heal themselves, so you would need to find a way to stop them from healing. And I ended up wiping like 3 times because I didn't know what was going on. It was hard. And it was challenging, and it felt really good when I was finally able to beat them. And then you find out that those world bosses drop the materials you would need to upgrade your characters and your weapons. But also, one kind of bummer thing about it is that they have this... I finally found the mobile kind of vibe to the game, because when you're playing the game, you feel like it's a full console game, really beautiful, lots to do.
Yeah.
And the thing with mobile games is they have this energy system.
Oh, isn't it like resin or something?
Right. So I didn't think the game had an energy system, and so in order for you to fight these world bosses, right, in order to upgrade your characters, you would need to get resin.
Okay, because I was going to ask you about this. I had read like a Reddit post about it, and this guy wrote like basically an essay about why Genshin Impact, like the negatives about it, and it was like all about the resin, like how bad it is and how predatory it might be.
Yeah, and then it's good. I'm currently free to play, and I think one of the other reasons is I don't want to spend money on this game, because I ended up watching some YouTubers that like really ended up loving the game, and they had videos. I'm like, I spent $1,000 on Genshin Impact, so you don't have to.
Lord.
And then in my head, I'm like, I get it. It's for the content, but there's no reason that you should be spending $1,000. On one game, right?
Especially since it's been out for like
even if you're a content creator, there's no way that you're I'm just doing this for the lols and I'm doing it for the views. There's no way that you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this game instead of buying a new monitor for my stream, or instead of buying whatever.
That's half the price of a PS5.
Right.
That's crazy.
No, 1,000.
Yeah.
So like literally, if you spent $300 or $400 for a video, do it.
Sure.
Like that's great. But $1,000? Are you insane? And they're saying that, so you don't have to. I'm like, no, realistically, you can tell you're addicted to this game, and you're trying to find a reason for you to do the gacha system. And it's interesting because last episode you said that, I really like the gacha system. It feels really fair and it's super cool.
Yeah, Grant only played for like one day. Right. So yeah, I assume as you get deeper into it.
Right, with the gacha system, because I'm assuming you got like Noelle, right? You did like the beginner pull.
Yeah, I got 3 characters.
Yeah, but with the beginner pull, you're guaranteed to get Noelle after your second.
Is that the maid girl?
Yeah,
with the broadsword. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so you get it. That's guaranteed. But with the other banners, which is essentially the other summon systems in the game, they have a pity mechanic in the game. So right, so if you spend 10 pulls, you're guaranteed 1 character.
Right, yeah.
But you're not guaranteed a 5-star character, which is what everyone wants to get, which is Venti, which is like this really strong archer, Jean, who is this really strong swordsman, and Diluc, who is like this really strong fire mage, and some other people like Mona and things like that. In order for you to get those guaranteed, you would need to do 90 pulls.
90?
90 pulls.
So you definitely need to spend money.
Correct. Yeah. There's just no way that the free currency that they're giving you as you play, there's no way you're going to get to 90.
That makes sense.
And maybe like you'll get to 90 in like 4 months. Like if you religiously play the game and don't pay for it, but you would need to stick it into one banner, and you don't know if some of the banners are temporary. So right now the Venti pull is temporary. Yeah. So like if you are investing your pulls into that banner and you don't get to 90, you're not getting a 5-star character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they kind of need to, because it is free, so they need to make up revenue somehow.
You know, and I get it. But my thing is, it's so predatory to the people that are susceptible.
I mean, that's just mobile
and
games
then that's just what the gacha thing is. So I think I'm going to drop it. I really do like the game, but I can't do it. I would end up.
I think for anyone listening to this, if they haven't played, they're kind of on the edge of it. At least try it out. Yeah. It's free, so
and then if you end up spending thousands of dollars on the game, don't blame me and Alex. That's on you. So
yeah, and then you can make content apparently and get a bunch of views. So.
Yeah, so that's great. I don't know if you got to the second country.
No.
That map is huge. So if you think Mondstadt is big, like the beginning country, the second country is like 3 times the size.
Nice.
So there's a lot to do.
A lot of ways to get your adventure rank up. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm trying to offset my addiction to Genshin Impact, I'm playing Yakuza 0.
Nice.
So I want to check out the Yakuza
Such a
series.
good game.
Yeah,
Such
so I'm really excited to play it. One of my friends at work said, it starts out a little slow, and then I thought to myself, I'm like, oh no, this isn't slow at all. When you play Persona 5, like literally there's maybe 3 hours where you don't do anything. Yeah. It's tutorial and it's all cutscene. So it's interesting. I really like Yakuza 0 so far. It looks beautiful on my PC. I'm gonna show you it.
I'm down.
Later. But that's pretty much it. That's it on my end. Together we played...
Oh, how far into Yakuza 0 are you?
Oh, not too far. Maybe like an hour.
Okay.
I ended up playing at like 11 because, my schedule's a little
bit weird. Dad schedule,
yeah. So I played at 11.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it because I really like Yakuza 0. That's the only Yakuza game I've played just because they're on 6.
Yeah.
But technically there's 7 games because obviously 0, 1, 2, 3, etc.
My initial thoughts are I think I like the story a lot. It's one of those weird things where they have weird cutscenes in the game. I don't know how I feel about it. Where it's like still frame 3D models. So that's a little bit weird to me, but at least everything is voice acted. The other thing too is maybe
have you gotten the combat system at all?
The combat system feels a little floaty to me.
Okay.
Maybe that's not the right term.
It picks up. You get more like mechanics.
No, not necessarily the mechanics, but I feel like when I punch someone, it doesn't feel like I'm punching them. That's what I mean by floaty. Like it doesn't feel like
the correct when you hit them. Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't feel like there's impact. Like there's no crunchiness. If you play God of War,
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, when you play God of War, when you hit someone, if the sound like if you hit someone,
and then there's like some hit stun,
right? And they animate the way that you hit someone, and then here it feels like you're like punching air, if that makes sense.
I totally get what you're saying. That's actually what I found the most annoying about like the Sword Art Online games. We do not need to jump into this rabbit hole. But that's like a huge gripe. But I think you'll enjoy Yakuza.
Yeah, I think
0.
I love my story games, and I love my weebness.
Yeah,
so I'm very excited to check it out. So do you? So.
I know. I said we.
So Alex and I ended up playing Fall Guys for a day.
Yeah, season 2 launched. I want to say Thursday, right? Yeah.
I really liked it, but I think there's some
liked
issues.
it? Question mark.
Yeah, so I think there's some issues. Let's go with you, Alex. What did you think about season 2?
Okay, so, and actually one of my friends asked me this yesterday, and I had like a long pause. I'm like, how do I actually feel about Fall Guys Season 2? I think overall, it's good. It's not as good as it should be, so to start off things, they added 4 new maps, and 2 of them are team-based maps. 2 of them are normal like race, elimination, free-for-all maps. And they redid the main menu music. They added on top of it. So like the base of the main menu music is there, and then they like added a layer.
Their audio design was like, how do we make this sound medieval?
Yeah, which it doesn't at all, but I like it.
They just add a syncopation to the main theme. That's all
yeah. I don't know. I still like it though. They change it up, it still slaps. Yeah. The biggest thing they did is they have this option where you cannot play team games.
I think that's a great addition.
Yeah, and this reminded me of the Peter Parker face design that we talked about last week. Okay. Because literally not everyone. There are a bunch of Reddit posts and tweets saying the team games are terrible. Like it feels bad to do everything right on your team, but you're on yellow team, so your team sucks, and then you lose. Right? Like in team tail tag, you can have the tail for the entire time. You can play essentially perfectly, and then still lose. Suck. Yeah, and then you just lose. Or egg scramble.
Or fall ball. all of the team games.
Right, yeah. So it just feels bad to do your part perfectly and then just get knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a lot of posts saying, hey, like, this isn't fun. Like, the game is awesome, but, like, we don't really like team games. And a lot of people were combating that, like, hey, you know what? The game is so fun regardless. Like, there's no reason to get angry.
Right, but if you want crowns...
But yeah, if you want crowns. And I was, like, seriously so conflicted internally.
Yeah.
Like, how do I feel about team games? Because on one hand... I think they're the weakest part of the game.
But they're still
I still
fun,
do.
Right?
Well, no, I don't.
You don't think they're fun at all?
I don't think they're fun.
I
like the soccer one. I think the soccer one's fun.
Yeah, but until you're losing and you just give up.
Exactly.
Like, halfway through.
But then the thing is, like, so I obviously do not like them. But on the other hand, like, the devs made them for a reason. Mm-hmm. And in Season 2, they added 2 more. So, like, they obviously find merit or value in these team games. So, like, I feel bad just saying, like, take them out.
I think the devs may want to do something like... We want to add some chaos into the game. You know what I mean? Maybe
there's chaos in every map in that game.
Right, but team games in particular are very much more chaotic than everything else because you're trying to rely on other people for your success.
True.
And so it's a little bit of uncertainty there, right?
And you know, that's a good point you bring up. Is this aspect of like relying, but also like doing your own part? Because there are some maps that are like that, like Seesaw and the new one, Wall Guys, Wall Guy or Wall Fall, something like that. Yeah, because in that it is cooperative to some extent, but it's still free for all, and you need to watch your own back. So maybe they are trying to go in that direction, where it's more nuanced.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I honestly, again, they add the game mode where you can just opt out of team games, just do free for alls. Like, it's a timed event. I think it's only active for like 5 more days, and I think the thought process is they're gonna get data and see
how many people played.
How many people did like the normal one with every game mode or with the exclusion of team games.
What if there's another time to like this is only team games?
Oh my lord. The player base just drops by like 3/4.
No, I think there's a bunch of things. Like I think they could also do like only races. Or they could do where it's only survival. Right. So slime climb.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah. Personally, I do like the new games that they added. There's 2 things I want to point out. So Alex and I ended up playing the Gauntlet mode, which doesn't allow team games into it. So what was disappointing with that, since they only added 4 new game modes, or 4 new games, or 4 new shows, right?
4 new maps, yeah.
Yeah. 2 of those are team games. So that means Alex and I, while we were playing the entire time, we could not see those new maps. So if you're a person that doesn't want to play team games, you're not going to see the new added games for Season 2.
Right.
And I know that Fall Guys or the devs for Fall Guys are planning on adding more as the season progresses.
Have they actually announced that?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
My main big gripe for it is I want Mediatonic to be as successful as possible with Fall Guys. I think they deserve all of the credit for creating a really good game, right? Because at the start it was really, it like just blew up. Now it kind of slowed down a little bit with the players.
It leveled out,
right?
Yeah.
I want them to be as successful as possible, and I feel like they kind of screwed up Season 2. Honestly, because if you're gonna say Season 2 is here and people should be excited about it, I feel like they should have had all of their games at launch. And granted, we don't know the situation there. I don't know how long it takes them to develop a game. In my head, I feel like you should have extended Season 1 longer so that when you launch Season 2, all of the games are new.
Yeah, so it seems like the length of each season is about 2 months.
Right. So I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if that's enough dev time for them to make enough games per season.
Yeah, I think the season should be longer.
Right.
And then instead of incorporating new maps periodically, I think they should just be front loaded. Right. I think that just makes more sense to me.
Yeah, because like my fiance Sam loves Fall Guys more than I do.
She sure does.
Yeah, and when Season 2 dropped, she was so excited to play it. And it took her 3 shows, essentially 3 times to start the entire sequence. It took her 3 shows to play a new map.
Yeah, that's such a bummer.
For the people that are excited to play the game, they're gonna peace out if they're not gonna see that new content, right? So it's troublesome there, where the people that love your game the most aren't excited for the new season because it takes so much for them to check out the new game modes.
Yeah,
I feel
that's a good statement.
I feel like they should have, kept the favorites like Hexagon, Slime Climb, Jump Club, things like that, and maybe reduce the frequency of the old games, because obviously I'm sure the devs are like, but we love these games, we made them, like we want people to play them. But if you're gonna say season 2 has new games and that's what your advertising material looks like, it's all about this night stuff, it needs to be in the game. And
it was such a bummer, because at Gamescom, when they first announced season 2, I want to say, they pulled heavily on the new theme of like the knights, the medieval. And then there's just, it's not as relevant. Yeah,
because I want them to survive, right? Because it is a games as a service. I want them to survive until forever, right? Because it is a fun concept. It's interesting and it's cool. One thing that I do want to say too is that I think they might be bringing in this update hot. Because while we were playing, there's a lot of visual bugs. Oh, yeah.
Like random bugs that I would never expect to see in a release game.
Yeah. So like Alex noticed that in the instructions, it said like action 6 instead of grab.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So things like that.
Or like in the loading screen, like the picture of the map wouldn't load.
The photos don't sync up and stuff like that. But yeah, I had fun. Like, even though I have some negative things to say about season 2, I still had fun. It was a good reason for me to jump back in. I just need Mediatonic to maybe find out a way to retain the players more, because I don't know, maybe for you, I know Sam will play it more, but are you going to jump back into season 2?
I played a little bit before I started up The Last of Us, and I ran into like a connection error, so I was like, wow, really still?
You're like, I'm out.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's still fun, especially since they heard the community and they took out the option to do team games. Like, that's huge to me.
Yeah.
Even if, I had this internal debate, I was like, okay, how should I feel about team games? I don't like them, but the devs obviously made them for a reason. I'm just having way more fun without having to play them.
Right. What would keep you playing?
Definitely new maps.
Okay.
Yeah, and every time we got into the finals, like when I played before Last of Us, the finals are always fall ball. So I don't know what's going on with that.
I think it's a number thing, right? It's a number thing, right?
I don't know why it's so heavily weighted towards fall ball, because, dude, I love my hexagon.
Maybe. They probably looked up some numbers behind the scenes, right? I just know that if it's less than 5 people, it's always going to be the tail one. Forgot the name.
Oh, Royal Fumble.
Yeah, Royal Fumble. If it's more than 10, it's always hexagon. So it'll be interesting to see that. Maybe this was a deliberate choice. They wanted to do 4 now and maybe 4 next week, and maybe 4 the following week, so that maybe it brings back people like you, right, that want new maps as they go. Maybe that was a deliberate choice, because they may have seen that people left after they mastered all of the games, and so if they have new games coming throughout the season, maybe that's a choice. But I think for me it's a misplay, because I think you need to get the big hype around the new season, and then for the people that want to stay, they'll stay, and then other people will jump back in on season 3. But
yeah, if they did have the promise of, hey, we're going to release like 1 map a week or 1 or 2 maps a week, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
if they kept up with that.
But they didn't say that.
No, I know they haven't said that. That would be a cool, I guess, timeline. There's a lot of cool things that they can add to this game, and I think they will. I would love like a practice mode where you can just like run through any of the maps you want, just to kind of get it down to a science. I don't know. That'd be fun to me.
Right, but I think part of the things that, I don't know if a practice mode would completely work, because some of the games you can't practice, because yes, you can run through the course, but Seesaw doesn't make sense because it'd be too easy, right?
Right.
The reason Seesaw is difficult is because there's a stupid person that won't go on your side.
Yeah.
Or you have Gate Crash, where you need that crazy amount of people pushing through the same door. So I don't know if you could practice that, because you'd just be essentially...
Yeah, but there's some, like Slime Climb, obviously. Or like one of the new ones. But even
in Slime Climb, though, right? I know how to do Slime Climb, and I'm very good at doing Slime Climb. The only reasons I die on Slime Climb is because there's another body that pushed me off.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, organic, hey, like this person like
it's definitely, it's always going to be different.
Right.
Every run you do, even if you have your route mapped to science, there's always different extraneous variables, which is good.
Yeah, for Mediatonic, I think the way to get Alex back is just to have a Nocta skin at the end of the season. See?
Final Fantasy 15. My eyes perked up a little
He just got excited.
Ooh, Final Fantasy, you say.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. That's all I've been playing. You haven't been playing anything else, right?
Those games, that sums it up, yeah.
Yeah, no, just there's so much video game to play. And like I said, the video game industry just does not stop. There's a bunch of news that just started happening. One of the main things that happened last week is that Amazon is canceling Crucible.
No way, not Crucible. No.
After they take it back from closed beta. So are you familiar with the situation? Do you even know what Crucible is?
I literally, when I saw this on the Run a Show, the docket this morning, I'm like, what is Crucible?
Okay. So the gist of it is that, did you even know Amazon make video games?
I had heard that they were planning on jumping in the industry, but I figured once like Amazon Luna
You're
came
like,
out, I was like,
Luna.
okay,
That's
so it's just
one.
that makes sense. But yeah, I didn't know Crucible is a thing.
Yeah, no, Crucible is this essentially this third person shooter MOBA. That's what it is, which I think you may like, but the problem is you hate shooters, so I don't know if you would play this.
Well, there was the one that was on PS4. What was it called?
Paragon?
Paragon, yeah. Which, like,
Epic
such
Games
a cool
closed
idea.
That because, Epic Games closed that because Fortnite was so good. Which is such a bummer, because I actually really like Paragon too.
Yeah, Paragon was cool. I don't think it was ever going to get a good player base, unfortunately, but like it was a cool concept.
Yeah, so the gist of this is that they actually took Crucible to open beta, and it didn't do too hot. People didn't like the game, so they took it back to closed beta.
And most people didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, so they took it back to closed beta, and then after a while, I think after they took it back from to closed beta sometime either late spring or early summer, they just announced that they're going to cancel the game. So the people that are playing it for closed beta, they get to play it until November 9th. And it's a shame, right? I think new games are really good, and there's a lot of devs that worked hard on that game, and sometimes
I was gonna say mostly feel bad for the countless hours that the devs poured into it, and then they're just like, nope, this is done.
Yeah, would you play something like this concept wise? Because I know you're a big League player, right? So you like League of Legends, you like your MOBAs. Do you think there's room for another MOBA in the market?
It's easy to say no, but then something like Fall Guys comes out and kind of disrupts the scene.
I know Fall Guys is a MOBA?
No, it's not a MOBA necessarily, but just some other like multiplayer online game. You're like, okay, you know what? All the retail space is taken for these sort of games, but then something else comes in. So.
Well, I'm thinking MOBA in particular, right? Because I'm pretty sure this was a deliberate choice. They wanted to make a MOBA. They wanted to compete against League of Legends. They wanted to compete against Dota 2.
Yeah, and
those are the two big boys. Are those too big at this point? Like, can someone eke their way into that market? Like, would you even consider another MOBA?
I think those games, like they are huge. They're huge internationally, not just in America. And the big play on this is that you said it's a third-person shooter. But then I think, okay, there's Smite. Smite is also third person and has like a decent player base. Like on Twitch, there's always,
I asked you to play Smite with me and you said no.
I know. I had played it.
And you hated
once,
it.
And I didn't like it as much. So people do like Smite. So if this is just trying to be a different Smite, I mean, I don't know. Hard to take.
I played it. I played
Crucible.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit to check it out. I played Smite before too.
Right.
Crucible is very much more of a shooter.
Okay.
So it's heavily shooter gameplay based.
Is it less on like abilities and stuff and cooldowns?
Here's the funny thing. This is gonna sound so bad. So I played it. I played the tutorial and I didn't like the tutorial and I just dropped it.
You didn't like the tutorial? Oh my god.
So I didn't like the tutorial, so I dropped it and I didn't even do like a full game. Like it was just I didn't like how it felt. So I just dropped it, and that's probably why it didn't do too well, right? So
yeah, that makes total sense. And it wasn't marketed at all. When did you play the tutorial? Like yesterday or something?
I knew this was happening.
Okay, you'd heard about it.
Granted, maybe I'm more like my ear is on the ground more with like video game news because one, I work in the industry and I like to keep track of what everyone else is doing. So I wanted to check that out. Yeah, no, I think it was a big topic for a week.
A week, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about Crucible, but even the top, when people were talking about Crucible, a lot of it was, a lot of people don't like this game. Like, a lot of people don't think this game is balanced. Or
so even the hot minute it was in the news, it was all negative stuff.
Yes.
That's too bad.
So that's kind of the thing. So my follow-up question with you is that, what do you think about the volatility of the games industry? Like, do you think this is sustainable, that, companies are spending millions and millions of dollars onto these new IPs and then they just close it? Because it was a big play by Amazon. Granted, Amazon has a crap ton of money, and
Dude,
I doubt
it's going to be
care.
a hard Christmas for Jeff Bezos since Crucible fell through.
I don't think they would care that much. But
right.
What do you think the games industry is going to look like in 5 years? Because I think personally, it's really hard right now because it's very much a hit-based industry.
Yeah, I think for single-player games or multiplayer games where it's just you play through it and you're done, that's not as much of a gamble. Whereas games as a service like Avengers, which, we'll cover this in a little bit, like League of Legends, Dota, etc., they are games of service. So you live and die by your player base and you want them to play for the long term. So if you can't get them hooked and you spent all these resources to get it up and running, you're dead from the start. And those are way harder because, again, you're trying to get people to play for the long term, and you're also competing against all these other free-to-play game service titles, so that already have their established player bases. So it's a hard market to get into. It's a gamble, for sure.
And then I think from my end, I have a different lens to it too, since I do work in the recruitment space for the games industry. My big fear with that, and I kind of touched base about it last week too, is that I think it makes the video game industry not attractive, because you'll hear it all the time. There's a lot of people in the industry that will say, oh yeah, I've worked on 5 of these games, 4 of them I can't talk about because they never came out.
Oh, right.
Right. So there's a lot, this is something that was public. You don't even know about the other projects that weren't announced, that weren't the press or the media, that just got shuttered because they didn't like the game or it didn't work. Right. So it's a little bit disheartening. I feel like I don't necessarily work on games myself, so maybe
the downside,
I'm literally just talking out of my ass, but I feel like it would be disheartening to work on a project for 2-3 years of your life and you can't see the fruits of your labor.
Honestly, that'd be soul crushing, to be honest. I think it'd be soul crushing.
Yeah. Because that happens, right? For these devs that worked on this game for, I'm assuming 3-4 years, maybe 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Their game is never going to be League of Legends. Their game is never going to reach the heights of Dota 2, right? They just know that they have these screenshots and they have these concept art that they made, but it's never going to get fully developed. So it's kind of a bummer on that front. So you're right. I think it is a little bit soul crushing. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't freeze over the entire games industry and makes it a wasteland of just, it has to be AAA. It has to be immediately amazing. So
it doesn't have to be AAA. It's just entering a new games as a service. It's just so hard because the expectation on the consumers is, okay, this game is going to take up so many hours of my life, but I'm already playing this other game service. Yeah. So it's hard to compete with. Yeah,
like I said, I want to touch base on what I brought up before. What would make you want to try out another MOBA? Because you're so into League of Legends. Even I, who left League of Legends, that game, if I was still playing League of Legends and another MOBA came out, in my head, I would think to myself, I don't want to play this other game because I don't want to learn the mechanics of this other game. I don't want to learn
even
all of these heroes and these other games.
And League has set a high bar.
Right.
So this new game would have to be better than that, even though you don't even play League anymore. Yeah. You just have something to compare it to.
Because I know what that is. Tough. The reason you could try the other MOBAs is because the mechanics would be similar enough. You would think to yourself, I'm gonna just spout some things that people that don't know about League. If you played another MOBA that is similar to League, you would think to yourself, oh, this feels like Scion, or oh, this feels like Mordekaiser.
And there's the neutral monster camps,
right? So you know those things. Yeah. With a new type of MOBA that has completely new mechanics, and you need to actually learn stuff. I don't know if I personally could come in, because the one thing with MOBAs is you feel so bad
Yeah.
when you're doing terribly.
Totally. Yeah, there's a steep learning curve.
Yeah, so on other news, PS5 will allow select PS4 games to be boosted performance on PS5. So for example, Ghost of Tsushima will reach up to 60 frames per second and have much higher load times. One thing that in my head, I thought performance mode was already in 60 frames per second. I'm not good at like gauging whether or not something is 60. I just know that it like moves better. But I thought that was in 60 already. So are you excited to check out boosted games on PS5? Is there a game that you in particularly would want to try out on PS5?
Yeah, so, and I actually already have this on deck, is God of War 2018.
Okay.
Dad of War, yeah. So my friend and I we played through it. I mostly just watched. I jumped in here and there. But in anticipation of the sequel coming out in, was it 2021 or 2022? I think it said 2021.
Yeah.
But it might get pushed back, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to like actually play through it, play through, you know, a lot of the side quests that they have too, all the side missions. So that's obviously a PS4 game that I'm planning on playing on the PS5. Because when my friend and I played it, we played it on performance mode. So it wasn't as visually appealing, but it had more on the FPS side. There's a lower latency.
See, there's one thing that I wanted to check out, because one thing that I needed to research before I wrote this run of show was if it's boosted to 60 frames per second for Ghost of Tsushima, there was no mention that it would be in graphics mode.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We don't know if God of War 2018, yeah. If God of War 2018 goes to PS5, we don't know if it will be 4K native at 60.
Yeah, it might right. Not.
So
but it'll probably have the boosted mode, which actually, I think a lot of people don't know this. On the PS4 Pro, there's actually a boost mode as well. Very similar to this. It's if you play it on like a 1080p TV or monitor.
Right.
So you're not bumping up to 4K.
Yeah.
So it powers it elsewhere.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to talk about is this enough for Sony? Because they said select games. So obviously not all Xbox or not all PlayStation games are going to be boosted. And Xbox in the past has already said that on Series X, all games, I'm assuming, maybe I'm speaking incorrectly, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, is that all games will be boosted through backwards compatibility. So I'm just going to read a quote by Jason Rowland, the director of program management for Xbox Series X. Backwards compatible games run natively on Xbox Series X hardware, running with the full power of the GPU, the CPU, and the SSD. No boost mode, no downclocking. The power of the Xbox Series X for each and every backwards compatible game, he wrote. Titles can render with increased resolutions up to 4K. We are also creating a whole new class of innovations, including the ability to double the frame rate of a select set of titles from 30 FPS to 60 FPS or 60 FPS to 120 FPS. So since they're not doing boost mode, they're essentially saying we can increase the graphics for all of the games.
Which in of itself is a boost mode, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. But the other thing, on select titles, they'll be able to boost the frame rate of that too. So it's interesting that PlayStation can only they're only saying that they're boosting select games, while Xbox is saying that.
Right. So, and I know in a past episode we've talked about backwards compatibility, how much it actually impacts us. So PS5 doing the boost mode, or like Xbox doing this for its past titles, it's really just a cherry on top to me. PlayStation outright said the PS4 games will run the same. I wouldn't really care that much. Like, okay, at least like I can play God of War on it. That's fine. So they're doing this. It's just like, okay, cool. I'll take it.
For sure.
How do you like care about this?
I think just Xbox invested in backward compatibility.
They sure did.
Much faster than PlayStation. So that's why everything's running natively on their system. And so PlayStation's still playing catch up, because in their head they're like, backwards compatibility doesn't matter. And so now that, you know, it's interesting, because I think as consoles go closer to PC, they're realizing that people may want to sustain their library for the rest of their lives, right? You know what I mean? Like, maybe when
some people do really care.
Maybe
about
I'm 70 years old and I will my PlayStation account to my grandson. Like, how cool would that be? No, but seriously, how cool would that be? They could change their PSN name, but like, I would gift them all of these I would
thousands of dollars.
Right. I would assume by the end of my life, like, I would assume I'd have like over $100,000 worth of games.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's crazy to think about. But it's probably right. Yeah.
Right. So if it's like one account and PlayStation still around till I'm 70, there's going to be like thousands of games there. Why would
it's kind of exciting to think about.
Right? Isn't that cool?
Yeah, in decades where gaming is going to be.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what that goes. The one game that I am particularly excited to have in boost mode, and if they're able to do this, I would be so stoked, is Bloodborne.
Really?
Because Bloodborne load times are terrible.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Bloodborne
and obviously you die a lot.
So bad,
game,
and you die a lot, and then 2, the frame rate's horrendous in that game. Okay. Not horrendous; it's still definitely playable, but I believe it's like on average, it's like below 20.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like 20 to 30 frames per second.
I did not know it was that bad.
Yeah, so
interesting.
I would love to see that in boost mode. On that note, speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Tsushima Legend Mode comes out on October 16th. What that is, it's a free online co-op mode. Ghost of Tsushima Legends features a 2-player story missions and 4-player survival missions, as well as a raid that will release in the weeks following launch. That's interesting to me, and I think that's exciting. Will you check it out? Is this something you're going to play with me, like, sometime in October?
No.
You don't want to play...
I'm not going to touch this game mode.
Really? Why?
No, I'm not. So obviously I love Ghost of Tsushima 8.5. Final Fantasy 15 also had something like this, the Comrades game mode, which you get to make your own character.
But you have a podcast now, and it's your responsibility to our listeners
check it out.
To check it out.
Maybe, because it's a free update, right?
Correct.
So I might check it out for like a day. You get to pick one of 4 classes, and it's kind of like the combat styles that Jin, the main character, could do. You like an assassin, archer, samurai. Yeah. So I don't know. It's another game as a service because they've said you can collect loot.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're incentivized to play with other people, do these missions, rinse and repeat to get the best gear possible for endgame raids. So that again,
that's one thing in my head. What does that mean?
What
does raid mean in Ghost of Tsushima?
In Ghost of Tsushima, yeah.
Because obviously, you and I have played Ghost of Tsushima. Is that like a big boss? Like, is that like a mythical boss? How does that work? Because I can't, maybe they just haven't showed us what we wanted yet, but it's something that I can't fathom in my head. Because I know like there's a little bit of like mythical elements to Legends mode. Maybe we're fighting like Izunami or Izunagi, right? Like some of those like
because some of the charms
gods
were based on like Japanese myths, gods, whatever.
Which I would love personally.
That would be kind of cool.
On that note, like I think we should play it on the 16th as just for...
I just rolled my eyes.
Oh my God. For our listeners. But on that note, you know what doesn't have raids? Marvel. The Marvel game on PC,
Marvel's Avengers,
Marvel's Avengers
came out.
On PC had a significant drop off of players, and now they're having issues with matchmaking. So obviously, a lot of people are piecing out of this game. Do you think this game will survive until the new updates come out?
It's so hard to say because again, it's a game as a service which does live and die by its online and player base. But they are promising, new characters, more bosses and whatnot. It's just the content that's currently available is so insignificant. And it baffles me because it's Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, not like an indie dev studio. And they have a good budget to deal with this. They have good experienced people on board with this game. And then they're also dealing with the Marvel universe. Right. Like there's so much. There's honestly like an infinite amount of concepts and ideas to pull from. And the only 2 bosses are freaking Taskmaster
and Abomination.
And Hulk version 2.
Dude.
So I mean like those guys are cool, but like why are those the only 2 bosses?
There's a ship.
Yeah.
And there is a spider tank.
Yeah, there's a ship and then another ship. It's just like it's so uncreative and so like it feels lazy. The amount of content that is not in Marvel's Avengers. Like I get you shouldn't have everything out at launch because again you need to intrigue the gamer.
More enticing updates.
There should be
post-launch.
There should be more, and I don't know if like the frame rate stuff has been fixed in like some of the Captain America missions. I don't know. It's hard to say if it'll survive. Again, like Spider-Man's coming out soon. I don't know when. Hawkeye's daughter. So like again the ceiling for this game is infinite. Yeah. Like they can keep going and implementing more and more features. in this game, but it's just not there right now. So when there's other game service out, or just other games like for next gen that are going to be launching, it's really hard for me to say, yeah, instead of those, I want to continue playing Marvel's Avengers. Yeah. It seems honestly dumb to say, right?
Well, since I dragged you into the games as service
I hate
world, what would get you back? So obviously you and I have both dropped it.
Yeah.
Like essentially, right? What would get you back? Not characters, because I'm sure we're going to jump back in once the new characters come in.
I'll check them out,
Yeah, because it's our diligent duty to help out our professional casuals. But what would get you to come back, right? What did you like the most about the game that you need more of?
I think what I liked most about the game was what's not there. Okay. The idea of like, okay, like I can have my own Captain America and I can fight against like Doctor Doom. Okay. Right? Like just the idea of all these awesome characters coming into play and fighting against them, or in these like fun environments that could have been, they just wasn't there.
So are you just feeling that it's not Marvel-y enough? I know that's a weird
No, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, because you're fighting like robots, like these little grunts.
And you know, like the mob enemies, like that's fine. Yeah. Those are whatever.
But you're looking for, I want to fight Doctor Doom.
Yeah, like you go through the mob enemies for like the fun boss, and there just isn't that.
I get that. That's super cool. But one thing that I did want to bring up is more playing of video games, and Alex and I have something special to talk to you about. So we want to start introducing this concept of a video game book club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a while. We want to do a video game book club. We want to play Hades with all of you if you want to check it out. So the gist of it is Hades is a roguelike action dungeon crawler based on Greek mythology, my favorite mythology.
Yeah, Greek myth is super fun.
The premise is that you're Hades' son. You're trying to fight your way out of hell, which is super cool. And you meet a lot of different Greek gods and mythological creatures. I heard that the Greek gods that you meet, you can kind of like, not romance them. Maybe you could, but you build up a social rank, or you build out a repertoire with them, and they give you more stuff as you get to know them better. So I'm really curious.
RPG mechanics.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what this game looks like. I love Supergiant. I don't know if you played Transistor.
I did. I haven't played. So they did Bastion and Transistor. They had a third one.
It's like the basketball one. I forgot. I didn't check it out.
Pyre, yeah. I didn't play that, but I did play Transistor.
I love Transistor.
Yeah, so these games are Supergiant. They're very good at establishing like a really cool environment. World building, and the aesthetic, like the art style they use. It's like cel shaded. It works very well. So I'm not really that big into indie games and indie devs, but Supergiant is pretty well loved by most people who've played their games. So I'm excited for this. Really want to play it too. Huge into Greek myth. I think for the video game book club, we're gearing towards mostly indie games because we want to play this in conjunction, in tandem with other games that we're playing.
Yeah, and indie games are typically shorter.
Yeah, like 5 to 10 hours maybe.
To play.
So, will we do larger AAA titles occasionally? I think so. I don't think we want to limit ourselves. Yeah. But for the most part, we want to play indie games because, again, this is supposed to be something we do with the community. It's something more engaging. So for a viewer to say, okay, I can play this game, this 5 to 10 hour game throughout the whole month. So it seems doable. Seems like a fun campaign, fun way to interact with everyone.
So we are planning on running Video Game Book Club on November 1st. So we're going to do it throughout the entire month of November. One cool thing that we are going to do is that we're going to do a social post on social media. We'd like you to, I don't know my Instagram, so love, share, and comment on the social media on that post. And from the amount of people that like, share all of those things, we will pick out a random person to get a free copy of Hades for Video Game Book Club.
A giveaway.
So we will run this. We will announce the winner before November 1st. And we hope that you get to play Hades with us, and we'll be talking about it as we do the podcast in November. So that'll be super exciting.
And we did just look it up. It's on Nintendo Switch and PC through Steam or Epic Game Store. It's not on Xbox and PS4 yet. I feel like those will eventually be ported over as Supergiant's other games were. To be able to play it on November 1st with us, it'll have to be on Switch or PC. So whoever does win our giveaway, our social media giveaway, you'll get to pick which platform you'd want it on.
For sure, yeah, and we're really excited to do this. I actually want to play Hades now.
Yeah.
But since we want to make sure that you get involved with us and we get to hang out a little bit, we'd love to play the game with you. Yeah, so that'd be great. On that note, speaking of other video games, there's a bunch of sales that are ending soon, and I wanted to call them out for you. So on Xbox One, Injustice 2 is $15. Lego Marvel Collection is $15. So hero themed from us.
Totally. Yeah.
PS4, the deal of the week is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's $14. That's a great game. And then
super open world. If you want someone to hold you over until the Assassin's Creed Valhalla launches.
Another open world game, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, is $16. I kind of want to check that out, specifically being an American, because that's the American. I know it didn't do too hot. I don't know if a lot of people liked it, but since it's remastered now, I might check it out because I do love the concept of assassins in America.
Yeah, it's cool. You actually don't hear that much about it. I honestly forgot about 3 because you always hear about Black Flag,
which is after,
Odyssey, and then what's the Origins? That's the Egyptian one,
Then on Nintendo Switch, Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga continues. It's $33.99.
Honestly, as I was watching Cobra Kai, I'm like, dude, this could be a video game. This could be like Yakuza style video game.
Honestly, I just put this up as a meme. I know it is on sale. I don't know if this game is good. I can't trust it. But maybe Alex will buy it, let you know.
Maybe, I'll tell you about how I paid for it and dropped it immediately. No. It's the show is super good on Netflix. If you have capabilities to watch it, we both highly recommend it.
And then Cloudpunk is $19.99 on Nintendo Switch. I have a sale here specifically for Alex. Persona 4 Golden is $15.99 on Steam.
That is a steal.
It is on sale. It's 25% off if you're gonna play it.
I'm not gonna buy it on Steam because listeners, I don't know if you know this about me yet, but I love trophies, right? And PS4 trophies, achievements, whatever platform you're on.
But the issue is it's not going to come out on PS4.
I feel like they're just losing money if they don't.
But they're not going to because it came out on Vita, and so unless you can play Persona 4 Golden on PlayStation View, maybe check that out, or the PlayStation
PS Now.
PS Now. I just can't see it going on PS4. There's just no way.
I don't know. I love the Persona games. Obviously. I just want to get the trophies.
One note: PS4 Golden has a terrible trophy list.
P4 Golden?
Yes. There's a specific trophy there where this is the listener's like, I don't give a shit about this. There's a specific trophy in PS4 Golden where your navigator Rise, you need to get her to say every single line.
Oh, there's kind of like that in P5.
Right, but the reason this one's difficult, is because there's specific lines for easy, medium, or hard.
Oh,
so man. Like literally, no, I don't know how it works, but essentially, if you're like overpowered, she has different lines. If you're like normal, she has different lines, and if you're like significantly underpowered, she has different lines.
Interesting.
So it makes it difficult.
Okay, good to know.
So good luck with that.
So maybe I will just play it on Steam then.
So that's specifically the one that they think is very difficult on that. Yakuza 0 on Steam is on sale as well. It's $4.99, so $5. One note, I am playing Yakuza 0 on Game Pass on PC, so it's free there. Not free, I'm paying for the
if you're paying for the service,
but I am playing that on PC. Same thing with No Man. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then on Epic Game Store, what's free is Abzu and Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. Abzu, I played. That's pretty cool. I've never played.
Is that like the underwater one?
No, that's Subnautica. Abzu is underwater, but Abzu is this like underwater game made by the Journey creators.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool.
Very cool, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the more popular one that I think you're talking about is Subnautica. That's what everyone's been streaming. Yeah. Rising Storm 2 Vietnam is also free on Epic Game Store. Check that out. You don't need to play it. Just add it to your library. Free games are free. You know?
True. I mean? They are.
Yeah. Thank you for sticking around for our 6th episode of Professionally Casual Gamers.
Woo!
We had a lot of fun hanging out with each other, and we hope you did too. If you have any discussion topics or questions, send it over to professionallycasualgamers@gmail.com or on our Instagram or Twitter at professionallycasualgamers. We would love you to join us on Video Game Book Club. We are really excited to play Hades. Really great. Also, shilling one last time. Please, please, please. please ask your friends, family, the janitor across the way, the person at McDonald's to check out Professionally Casual Gamers. Just one person would really help us out. Like, it would really make us feel good.
Yeah, totally.
If we have more people listening, because we really do have fun doing this. But on that note, see you next week. Keep it casual.
Bye.